One thing that you should be aware of and careful of is that Fiverr has quite strict terms of service. If you're talking to a customer in a gig or even messaging people, you'll see these warnings come up if you put in certain keywords. So I put an email and a terms of service reminder, this automatically comes up. If I put in something like payment or I put in something like money, obviously these warnings are just auto-generated based on certain keywords. And essentially what Fiverr is trying to do is not get you to do business with people you meet on Fiverr outside of the Fiverr platform. Obviously they want to keep their commission, and if you don't follow those terms of service, you can get your account restricted. Now, my advice to you is just not to risk it. I think the Fiverr platform is great. It's all the technical benefits, payment processing, all that stuff, etc. So you may be tempted, if there's a particularly large order, to communicate with somebody and say, hey, let's just do this ourselves and you can just pay me directly by PayPal, and we can save, I can give you a 10% reduction maybe in cost, and you get an extra 10% for yourself. So that's something like that. You might be thinking to do it. My advice would be not to do it. I think there's advantages of going through the system. If, for example, the client isn't happy with what they have, they can request a refund. That whole type of process becomes much more complicated if you do it yourself, and say the customer is being unreasonable, etc. It's not worth it. And you can also, you'll still get reviewed for custom orders on Fiverr. And I think that if it's a large revenue item, you're going to get more traffic on the basis of it. So there's some advantages of keeping it on the platform. But the biggest disadvantage is of getting your account restricted. And that effectively means that you can no longer sell on Fiverr under that account. So all of the good reviews you may have built up, if you could be a top rated seller, you could have thousands of sales under your belt and hundreds of 5-star reviews. But if you work outside their terms of service, that could all be lost. You'll lose your rankings. I understand that you can start again with a new account, but you have to build up everything from the ground up, and that's a lot of work. So that's the warning. Just be aware that these are the terms of service. You've got to communicate and take payments on the platform, and if not, you could lose your account. And I've heard people trying to fight this afterwards, and it seems like Fiverr just do not give people second chances on this. So they're pretty strict on it, so be careful with it.